vote on our school budgets, right? And for Board of Education, that's tomorrow, right, Mayor?
Yes.
So tomorrow, we'll all be voting on that. I thought that this morning would be a good time for me to give the legislature a report card. Right, what do you think? I mean, good time for us to go through kind of what their subjects are and how they're doing it. You all will remember the property tax toolkit. We talked a lot about that last year. That along with the cap on property taxes that we put in place, that there were also tools that mayors like Mayor Benzavengo needed to be able to provide services to all of you, but to do it underneath the 2% cap. And there were 20 bills that I proposed in the toolkit. And the legislature did pass 5 of them. Got to give them credit for that. So they get credit for 5 of them. They haven't passed 15 of them, including repealing civil service, so that, yeah, Mayor Benzavengo likes that one, so that he can manage this town more like a business. And another one that I can't understand how they haven't passed, and that's the end the abuse of sick leave by public employees across New Jersey. Now, Senator Sweeney, the Senate President, said the rest of the toolkit is garbage. They passed the important stuff, the rest is garbage. Let me tell you about sick leave reform. In just 8 municipalities across New Jersey, this year they paid out $39 million in sick leave. $39 million in sick leave. Many of those towns having to bond, to borrow money to pay sick leave to their employees. I don't know where you work and what your background is, but my understanding always was that sick leave was for when you're sick. That if you're sick, you get to stay home and get paid a certain number of days every year and not lose out on your income. You know what sick leave has become for public employee unions in the state? Here's what they call it. They call it the boat check. Now, why would they call their sick leave payout the boat check? It's the money they use when they retire to buy the boat. That's a true story. They call it the boat check. It's your money. And they take it to buy their boat to go to the shore. And Senator Sweeney says, this isn't a big deal. This isn't a big deal. Tell that to the taxpayers in Jersey City who paid an extra $245 on their property taxes last year just for the sick leave. Imagine that. Or let's not make it a Democratic city like Jersey City. Let's make it a Republican town in the suburbs like Parsippany in Morris County, where I come from. Their taxpayers paid $125 last year on their property tax bill just to cover the sick leave payout. Now, you know, if we're going to do this, they're going to make us do this. Why don't we do it in a way where we'll get some satisfaction, right? Like when some of these public workers retire, let's have the mayor host a retirement party at Town Hall, and all of you come and bring your $125 check. And they can have a receiving line for the public employee, and you can say, thank you for your service, here's my $125 check. Because that's what it is. They just stick it into your property taxes and hope you won't understand what's going on. So let's just have the party. Let's have the boat party. In fact, maybe the public employee could have the picture of the boat. I got an easel, like I have that thing. I have a picture of the boat and the easel, so you know where your money was going to. And he or she could tell you a little bit about the boat. You know, so you feel good about it at least. You don't feel like you were completely getting it stuck to you. You know, hey, look at the boat, it's a nice boat. And maybe all of you can negotiate a ride if you put a little more in the check. Because this is Jersey after all, so maybe we can work that out. I mean, it would be funny if it wasn't so crazy. And if it wasn't costing taxpayers across Jersey tens and tens and tens of millions of dollars in their property taxes. You all elected me in part to get control of property taxes. I can't do it if they don't pass the toolkit. Now this is just common sense. You know, I was a federal employee. We got sick leave when I worked for the U.S. Attorney's Office. And here's the way it works for federal employees. You use your sick leave when you're sick. If you don't, it's over. When you leave, you lose it. And the only thing you can do with it, and I think this is a great idea, is if you have a chronically ill fellow employee, you can donate some of your sick leave to that employee to help them through a chronic, life-threatening illness. That's good. That's good use of that. And I think most taxpayers would say, someone's going through cancer treatment, someone's got some other chronic disease, you don't want them to be penalized for that. You want them to have some economic security while they're going through that extraordinary life challenge. But to buy a boat, for people who already get, by the way, a taxpayer-funded pension when they retire. This is the second taxpayer-funded payout that they get, and all because they weren't sick. Wouldn't you just be happy that you weren't sick? Wouldn't that be enough of a gift, that you didn't have to use your sick leave? This is the stuff that Senator Sweeney calls garbage. Doesn't matter. So, while we give them some credit, because they passed 5 of the toolkit items, there's 15, like sick leave and civil service and others, that haven't been passed yet. So we're going to give them, we're going to be nice. We're going to give them a grade of incomplete. So we'll give them an incomplete grade. You know how they put those little notes on the report card afterwards? Like the teacher's note after each grade? So our note after this one is, follow through remains an issue. Follow through remains an issue.